Is there time for this, for more delays here? I mean, aren't the Britons already a little bit behind schedule as far as the Brexit negotiations go?
Well, Matt, I think the UK is already a long way behind in which was always going to be an extremely ambitious two-year timetable. So, no, we can't really afford further delay, but honestly, given the confusion over the UK's Brexit strategy, it is probably an excellent idea for Theresa May to outline exactly where the government stands precisely, because I must admit, for one, I'm a little bit confused, and I'm sure a lot of other people are as well at the moment.
A lot of people are confused. Are you confused about where the Bank of England's going to go next, or are you pretty sure you know what's in store there? Because we saw, I just pulled up this is a tale of two pairs. The euro has only been able to take on the dollar, not the pound, and part of that illustrated yesterday where we saw a surge in the pound as a result of that inflation data. And still, voices are a little divided. Some saying the Bank of England is going to have to look at this. It is going to have second-order effects. It's affecting clothing sales, for example. And others are saying, no, this is all the weak pound. The Bank of England just keeps on looking through it.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Bank of England Monetary Policy Committee will be split, and I think that is exactly what you see reflected on the chart. But I think at BNP we're quite clear where we are, which is that the Bank of England will not raise rates until late next year. So there is, in our view, no real reason for the Bank of England to raise rates any sooner than that. They will look through the current inflation data, because when you look at inflation expectations, for instance, they're not rising. So the fact that current inflation is going up is not making people feel that inflation will continue to go up. I think a lot of people understand it's currency related, and this effect will fade. Wage growth is not accelerating despite the low unemployment we have in the UK. Again, a lot of uncertainty about people's jobs prospects. I mean, I work for a French bank. I don't know where I'm going to be working, or even if I'll be working once Brexit is done. Oh,
Edmund, yes. And then on top of that, the MiFID II concerns around research.
Don't get me started.
We won't dwell on it. Matt?
Well, Anna, you bring up a good point as far as, you know, who's behind the eight ball here. I mean, doesn't the EU want to get these Brexit negotiations done in a timely manner as well? Is it as important for the EU as it is for the UK, Edmund?
It's as important, yes, but I would argue the EU really have the upper hand at the moment over the UK. And one of the main reasons for that, in my view, is the Northern Irish question. I mean, really, the UK's current position of saying we don't want customs union with the EU on the one hand, but on the other hand, we want to maintain the current border arrangement, or pretty much of no border, with Southern Ireland, which is the only land border between the UK and the EU, seems inconsistent. And I think this is exactly one of the areas that Theresa May needs to clear up, precisely because, remember, she relies with her minority government on support from the DUP, who themselves do not want to endanger the Northern Irish economy in any way, shape or form.
Talk me through the next few weeks in the Brexit saga, Edmund, because I think citizens of nowhere, as they were dubbed in the Conservative Party conference last year, will be interested to see the stage management of the next few weeks. We have Theresa May looks set to make a speech where she sort of resets or restates or takes forward her thoughts around Brexit, possibly extending a hand of friendship and saying this is about a close relationship, quickly followed by the Conservative Party conference where the wording could be of a slightly different nature. How will global markets respond to that kind of mixed messaging, if that's what we end up getting?
Yeah, I think we know that Theresa May is treading a very fine line, because clearly, with a minority government and with threats to her leadership from within her own party, clearly she cannot move her stance too quickly towards the EU, towards soft Brexit, because clearly the hard Brexiteers within the Tory party would throw up their hands in anger and say, no, we must unseat Theresa May now. One of the problems for the Conservative Party, however, is who would replace her. It is not clear that there is an outstanding candidate, frankly, who would do any better than her, in my view. I think that's one issue. And you're right, I think she really has to, on the one hand, pay heed to her own party and not move too much to soft Brexit. But at the same time, you have to move to some form of compromise, because you need to get on with the negotiations with the EU. And the EU are not really in the mood for giving up too much ground at the moment.